Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Lurch and Fuji podcast, and this is the 20th
Back.
episode. We're back, and Fuji's in Cali. I'm back. I'm still here in New York, and yeah, let's. We want to. What's up?
Yeah, the dynamic duo is on opposite coasts of the country, but we are still doing what we need to do to keep the masculine energy up, keep get it popping for us and our fellow men out there.
That's right.
Just staying positive, doing what we need to do, getting the shit we need to do, go out, hunt, kill, bring back the fucking bread
Yeah, that's
and the
right.
meat. So yeah, man, it's good to see you. It's been a couple of days. We've been, talking here and there, but finally we're back recording on a beautiful Friday. How's it going in New York? What's the weather like?
It's actually cold right now. Right now it's in the 30s. When I went outside, it was in the 30s. There was wind blowing after that rain that came. I think it was a couple of days ago. But yeah, man. Oh yeah. So let me keep you updated with what's been going on. So I've been trying to find ways to kind of improve the channel, and so I actually, I Google search. I'm like, how to create numbers for the YouTube channel and shit like that. And I noticed that we're gonna. So with this podcast that I just post up, I'm gonna start putting a thumbnails. So I'm gonna make a really generic thumbnail. We could always update the thumbnails because I figure that, let's say, like for all the podcasts that we didn't add thumbnails for, we could add it back. So we could
Yeah,
add a podcast.
that little research that I've done says definitely we should have, I think we should have our faces there.
Right. We
And
need
we,
we
we
definitely
definitely
do.
need an attention-grabbing headline,
Yes.
so people will click on it, and
Oh,
the algorithm knows, like, hey, this is a topic that a lot of the YouTube users seem to be interested in, and so let's push it out there. Great.
no, absolutely. And you know that text that you sent me with that podcasting thing. There's this podcaster named Matt Kim, right? He
Oh
recently,
yeah, hell
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
my dog, man.
yeah. So, yo, man, he recently interviewed, Top G,
Andrew Tate.
Andrew
Andrew
T. Yes,
Tate.
he did. Yeah, a 4 hour
Yeah, he's
podcast, and
pretty.
that guy just blew out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And like, if you look at his podcast, you'll notice that he shows his face. He has that mic setup that you sent me, that you showed me,
Mm-hmm.
and that text.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, when things
Inspiring,
get,
right?
it's extremely inspiring. And so yeah, we definitely have to start showing our faces. That's one of the things that we have to do,
Yeah, I
especially for a video
personally, like, I knew
podcast.
nothing about him, but
Right.
just listening to, I think he calls himself the free thinker, the free thinking network, something, the free thinker podcast, something like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, like, he's real, like, he's very articulate, obviously. He makes a lot of great valid points talking about, I guess, what's going on in America, right? What's
Right.
going on in politics and society. And yeah, when just like that, when you bring good energy and you bring, your viewpoints, your own unique viewpoints, and as well as, just giving the people what they want. Let's face it, like, men out here today, we see what's going on in America, and I think he's been able to really kind of put a voice on what a lot of, guys like me and you, the so-called normal, kind of traditional thinking guys, like, he's putting stuff down that we resonate with. And
Right.
so, great props to him, Matt Kim, Korean American. Let's go.
Let's go, man.
I think he's down in Atlanta doing
He
his
is. He
thing.
is. Atlanta. Yep.
Yeah, and it's just so gratifying to see shit like that, because
I
as
mean,
far as,
don't
like,
yo.
Asians and
Yeah,
Koreans,
no,
like,
Dumbfounded
yeah,
does it too.
it's
Dumbfounded.
time.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, oh
Dumbfounded.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on
So
the sub.
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
catching
yeah,
them a
yeah,
couple times.
yeah. So like, it's we just need to, we know exactly what we need to do. It's just a function of, kind of fleshing things out still. But yeah, it's gonna be done. It's gonna be done. But yeah, man. So once you landed on your flight, man, how did it all like go down?
It was a good flight.
Yeah.
My dad drove me. Said
Nice.
farewell to him. Got on the plane, drank some coffee, and it was some bad turbulence on Wednesday morning. There was a big storm system kind of moving through, like, the Pennsylvania kind of, that area.
Yeah,
And
turbulence
man,
sucks dick, man. Yeah.
the first, I say the first 2 hours, like
Yeah.
it was rough. It was a rough ride.
Mm.
It wasn't like being that I've flown domestic so many times now.
Right.
It wasn't anything that I hadn't experienced before,
Mm.
but the length of time that we were in it, like they didn't even serve beverages until like 3 hours into the flight when normally it should be
Crazy.
maybe 30, 45 minutes max into the flight. It was shaking so
Wow.
much that nobody got to eat, nobody got a drink. I think people were starting to get irritated a little
Right,
bit. Like it
right.
was, it's a
Yeah.
morning flight
Right.
and you want to get on and maybe have a cup of coffee or a drink and just relax, have a little snack, and then just the shaking was, I looked around and I could see some people who were definitely having a harder time than me. One guy across the aisle, he was just holding onto the seat in front of him, like white knuckling it, and he kept glancing back at his family members that were sitting next to me. And meanwhile, they were sleeping, and he was just looking at them like incredulously, like, how could these people be sleeping right now? I guess, terrified. And then after about 2, 3 hours, it definitely smoothed out as we approached the West Coast.
Nice, nice.
And upon landing, the airport is pretty much just down the street from where I live. And
Nice.
a shuttle bus takes me outside the airport property to a parking lot that I guess people will park their car to get on the flight. But that parking
Right.
lot is, about a half a mile from my house.
Mm.
So right away, I thought to myself, well, let me breathe in some of this California air while I walk home. I got home and immediately following the Joe Rogan principle, I hit the gym
Let's
for
go.
a bit of a sweat and waited for my wife to pick up my daughter from school and come home.
Mm.
They came home about 8 o'clock, which is probably about 3 hours later than I expected them.
Mm.
But just the reaction from my daughter seeing me
Oh.
after 30 days away was just everything.
Mm.
It replenished my energy. It replenished my mental energy.
Mm.
It it was a big, the best thing ever. And my wife and I we're still in a bad time with
Mm.
each other. It's hard to kind of come together and have a dialogue, open communication between us where I can admit to my very, very wrongdoing, but
Mm.
also convey my remorse and my new set of ideals to just try to fix it. Because, as I think my toxicity is something that I have to live with, but that's also something that I can grow out of.
Mm. Mm.
And I think that's kind of the trend that I hope to stay on. I've listened to enough Bedros Keuilian podcasts where stop doing the shit that's holding me back. If you have goals, set those goals, but also set the things that you're gonna have to give up if you want to reach those goals. And that was a big lesson for me. Like, man, like you outline all this shit that sounds great in your mind, but you kind of push the stuff that is gonna suck kind of away. And then I think that kind of leads to more false starts than necessary.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so I've given up smoking weed.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's tough. I
Yeah.
think about it several times a day because I was a chronic fucking user.
Mm.
And there are moments where I find myself like, man, if I just have a little bit of an edge right now, if I could just smooth out that edge, maybe I'll feel better. And then I just
Mm.
basically slap myself like, no, bitch, no, bitch.
Just no, do some push-ups. Do some push-ups or something.
Yes, yes,
Instead
yes.
of slapping,
There's
do something constructive instead of slapping your own face,
guys,
dude.
I smoked weed. I smoked weed for, let's
20
say,
plus years.
23 years.
Yeah.
23 years, right? And so, that's just one of those things where, just like a long-term relationship, you are going to feel the pain, obviously, a pain of withdrawal. You're gonna
Mm.
want to recapture the good feelings it gave you, and then coming back to square one, it's that's when you probably feel worse than
Mm.
the time you felt worse right before I stopped. So, just sitting here right now, talking to you, like I've already kind of,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
escaped my
yeah,
mind. I had a workout
yeah.
today, and yeah, so that's been good. And it sounds like the weather over there. It sounds like I left just in time.
You left it in the perfect time. I mean, tomorrow's it's gonna rain, but it's gonna warm up just a
Oh,
tad. It's gonna be 50, but still, man, trust me. I am envious of you right now.
oh man,
Right now is not a good time
um,
for. But yeah, I gotta admit, man, when we just jumped on, I got a hit of endorphin rush. I got like a bit
yeah,
of dopamine right now.
bro,
It's amazing,
bro,
dude. Yeah.
the volume of positive conversations that you and I have, it's just it's it's one of the most fulfilling things that I think that I've brought into my life. And
100%.
I gotta say,
Likewise.
there's more of our friends out there. I think we need to have these kind of talks with.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
But
it's coming.
everybody is kind of on their own time, and
Right.
of course, I should be the last person to tell somebody, hey, you need to be doing this. Like, no, I just let kind of things come to me.
Right.
And did you get a haircut again? I can kind of
No,
look
no, no. I
see.
didn't get a haircut. I need. I
Oh,
actually.
okay. Still
So what I'm
fresh
gonna do
then.
is, yeah, it was still
Still
the.
fresh.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a haircut tomorrow. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
it's
stressing because that's one of the things being out in California.
right.
People don't do nice fades out here unless you're trying to drop like 200,
Right, right, right.
200 for a fade. That's a
Yo,
year's worth of haircut.
that's crazy. Yo, learn how to cut your own hair, man. See,
Oh
nah,
man.
yo, I tried doing that shit. That is impossible, bro. That is
If anybody
impossible.
remembers seeing me during COVID when I tried to cut my hair and when I tried to cut my hair, it was a fucking disaster, guys.
Yo, when
Excuse the
let
language.
me, no, this is 18 plus, 18 plus
18 and over
podcast, yeah, 18
podcast,
over.
right?
This is not for children, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like when I first like during COVID, there was no one like cutting hair. So what I
Yeah.
mean, so I couldn't find a place before I found my recent spot near where I currently live. But like what I did was I ended up like trying to cut my hair, and I fucked it up. And so I ended up shaving every single thing, everything. I was
Yeah.
bald to the gills, and
Yeah. It was
yeah,
getting close to that for me.
yeah, yeah. But man, yeah, man, shit, yeah, but
So, it's been an interesting week for sure.
mm,
I don't think I told you, but
yeah,
I flew out on Wednesday, and so Tuesday being my last full day in New York, I had to go out to Manhattan once again just to
yeah,
kind of soak in that, New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. The
right,
mean streets, like these streets raised me. I'm street smart, I'm book smart, and hopefully there's nothing stopping me. So I met up with the homie
mm,
and drove around for a while, looked at, I went to B&H Music Photo Video, real
mm,
famous electronics store in Manhattan, where an audio engineer who's an employee there, a salesman, he showed me the podcast setup that I took a picture of and snapped it to you.
that's
It
sick, man.
was, nothing more than two mic stands, and their selection of mixers where you could connect two mics or four mics, and everything looked great. They let you demo it with the headphones, and you speak
Mm,
into the mic, you play a sound effect, you can hear your own playback, and the sound quality was amazing. So
yeah,
right away I was just so happy that he when
that's
he
what,
saw me kind of
yeah,
looking around, he asked me, do you have any questions?
right.
And my response was, bro, I don't even know what questions I should be asking right now. And he was like, "Oh, I love that you're honest with that. Come over here. Let me show you what we got."
Mm.
And I'm telling you, if it wasn't the end of the month and I didn't have bills to pay, I might have swiped the credit card right there and just, you know.
No, but
But yeah,
yeah, it's happening for sure. I was thinking about, right. I'm just doing the Mister podcast. Eh, you know what I'm saying? For Mike and Rich, the Mister
oh,
podcast. I was thinking about that. Yeah, yeah,
oh,
Mister. Yeah, because this, like I said, this podcast was more of a test run type of thing. The hardest part in terms of starting a podcast, and you could listen to any initial podcaster that says it. It's just starting. And then when you start, and once you start posting, you find out different ideas. Because just naturally, when you start something, you want to improve it. You know what I'm saying? And so I knew that the hardest part was starting. Now it's a function of, and when you do something, you always want to make it better. So I was thinking about that. We're going to change the name of the podcast. We're going to utilize, we're going to show our faces. This is, like I said, a test run that's, and we're going to still be communicating. And so that's the, kind of a culmination of what I was thinking about here. The Mr. MR.
By the way, guys, this is the 20th episode of
it
the
is,
podcast.
Man. And
every single episode is just an evolution.
100%, because even if which we will change it to Mike and Rich podcast, and then now it's just a fun, and we'll still archive these on podcast, obviously, and then kind of release
Mr. Mike and Rich, Mr.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do that too. Yeah, we'll it's still an evolution in terms of Lurch and Fuji. It was good while it, like the title, good while it lasted. But then we kind of figured, because it needs to improve, and then we'll figure something out. It's just a work in progress.
I'm kind of walking around the house, giving you a little
nice
cheap tour of the place.
Let's go.
And
love it.
Yeah, it's been an adjustment especially for my wife, I guess. But yeah, I mean, getting back to what happened on Tuesday, the wildest shit happened on Tuesday while I was in Manhattan. I was walking uptown about 90th Street, and I happened to be just in my own thoughts, walking down the sidewalk, and an old lady, a white lady, senior citizen lady, she was coming up the block towards me, and all of a sudden, out the corner of my eye, I hear her go, ooh, and she tripped and was falling down.
Ooh.
And I came real close to catching her, but I just wasn't quick enough, and she went down hard.
Oh.
She hit her head on the sidewalk.
What?
She cut her hand open, trying to brace her fall. And right away, I was like, oh man, this is bad. I immediately turned around as I was, watching her fall, and I tried to catch her fall. And so when she hit the ground right away, now I'm next to her, just telling her right away, hey, don't try to move. Just lay here for a second. Just sit here for a second and catch a breath. And then she told me that she hit her head. And, when I looked, sure enough, she was already growing a knot on her head. Because being old, she just had no way to even stop the momentum of her upper body coming down, and almost her whole weight hit her head. And of course, I knew that was bad. Anytime you hit your head like that, and you're just not exactly a young person, this is dangerous.
Right.
She gave me a little bit of a fight, saying, it's not that bad. I'm not even knocked out. I could just keep going. I could go to urgent care. And I told her, no, lady. First, tell me your name. Her name was, let's say, we'll change her name. Let's call her Sandy. I said, Sandy, you are in no position to get up right now. She didn't even know that she had a big knot on her head, because how could she? She didn't have a mirror in front of her. She just felt the pain. She had a huge knot on her head that had, a little bit of a blood coming out. And so I told her, listen, we're going to just sit right here for a second until you feel like you can kind of push yourself up to a sitting position, which she did. We happened to be in front of a restaurant that was kind of getting ready to open up. It being afternoon, around lunchtime. And so I pulled a chair from their outdoor seating area, and I had her sit down. Somebody involved with the restaurant came out. It was right in front of an apartment building, and I think who turned out to be one of the superintendents of the building came out. Everybody just basically kind of gathered around, trying to, just show some support. And we got her. I got her into the chair, and I told her, listen, you're going to need a paramedic. I'm going to call 911 right now, which I did. I got on the phone. I called 911. They pushed me over to EMS, Emergency Medical Services. And here's the crazy part, Rich.
Yeah.
While I'm on the phone with EMS, giving them my location and telling them all the relevant information they wanted, here comes another old lady walking past the restaurant.
No way.
I turned my head to see her go down in the same spot.
Get out!
5 minutes, not even
Get
five
the
minutes later,
fuck out of here,
another one.
dude!
This one landed with on her jaw, not
Oh
her
my,
forehead.
dude!
Her knees and her jaw took all the weight of that fall. So now everybody around me is just in like a state of disbelief, like, oh
Right.
my goodness. Now I'm on the phone and I see this happening. So the restaurant manager and the super, now they're helping her get up. They pull out another chair from the restaurant and have her sit down.
Get
By this time,
yeah.
the first ambulance arrived. They're
Yeah.
looking for me. I show them what's up, and they're like, "You said there was one lady."
Yeah.
And I tell the paramedic, like, this literally just happened, where another lady fell down and hit herself. And they're like, "Oh man, let's call another ambulance for her."
Right.
She visually didn't look so bad,
Right.
but just to be safe, we convinced her that she should go in the ambulance and at least get checked out. So now there's two ambulances in the area.
Oh,
I'm
that's
just kind of sticking around knowing
yeah.
that, all right, once they get in the ambulance, I'm good. The first lady, Sandy, who I helped, she actually was not even carrying a mobile phone around.
Mm.
So I pulled out my phone and I asked her, do you have anybody you could call? And she said, yeah, my husband. I'll call my husband. She gives me the number. We call. Maybe he was in a dead zone and went to voicemail a few times,
Right.
but on about the third try, he actually answered, and she was able to let him know what had happened to her, and that the paramedics had arrived. And due to the damage that she had sustained, there was no way that the paramedics could let her go. We had to go to the emergency room.
Yo.
They got the X-ray machine ready for her, and yeah, she went. I spoke to the husband, and guys, my younger brother is an attorney.
Mm.
So
Dude.
the next kind of, after making sure she's okay and the ambulance is here and the paramedics are checking her out,
Yeah.
I kind of let her know that this is something that, you're going to be in pain.
Right.
You're going to have, she was worried about like medical bills. That's why she didn't even want to go to the hospital. So of course,
Mm.
she's going to have medical bills. She's going to have pain.
Right.
And yeah, like somebody should be responsible for that.
Oh, for
Certainly
sure.
she shouldn't have that burden. And
Mm.
so I asked my younger brother for a personal injury referral,
Mm.
which I then passed on to her and her husband. And then 24 hours later, I sent them a text message. And yesterday, she actually called me back.
Wow.
And, she started the phone conversation. Oh, this is name change, Sandy.
Right.
You
Right.
remember I fell down in front of you and you helped me? I'm
Yeah.
like, how could I forget?
Right.
I was almost as traumatized as you were seeing
Right.
that happen, seeing another lady fall down a few minutes after that and start
Mm.
bleeding. Not to mention the fact that, say, 3 months ago, my grandmother in Korea fell down and broke her hip
Mm.
while walking around. And so this mix of emotions that I was just experiencing, just sitting there, like, there's no way I can just go on about my day
Right.
and just, without, like, I was the first, like, I was literally the one next to her as she fell. So I took
Mm.
it upon myself to make sure, I could help out in any way possible.
Let's
There
go.
was, there's a funeral home right down the street, and some of the people who had just left the funeral, it was a Jewish congregation. So
Yeah.
they kind of were walking by and they were seeing what's going on. And, one of the gentlemen, he was really being helpful and kind of talking to her, and then we got to talking and just kind of shared, a little bit tidbits about ourselves, like, hey, what's your name, where you from, where you live. And he told me that although he lives in Manhattan now, that he
Right.
grew up in Briarwood, which is,
Mm.
if you take Main Street from our house all the way south to about Central Booking,
Right. Right.
Jamaica
Right. Right. Yeah.
area,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where Main Street ends, and that's the
Yeah.
Briarwood neighborhood. So when he said Briarwood, I told him, hey, I know where that is. I've been a guest of the city there on more than one occasion. And he was like, you were a guest of the city? I was like, yeah, I was a bad boy. I was a bad boy. And he's like, hey, let me tell you something, Mike. Being a bad boy is like, it's like going to a store and buying a bad shirt.
Mm.
If that's not you, you can return the shirt. That doesn't
Mm.
make, the bad shirt doesn't define you. Our
Mm.
mistakes don't define us.
Mm.
And just hearing that from him, like, he didn't know anything about me other than that, but he was like, man, you over here, you're helping her out. Like, I can see you're a good person. and all that. You're a good man. And I'm like, dog, I got a lot of bad karma I got to make up for it. And he's like, oh,
Mm.
I see. Like,
Mm.
that's when he told me the story of the bad shirt and all. And he's like, it's never too late
Right.
to start doing that, because just the mistakes that you made in your past, it won't define you. It doesn't make you a hypocrite to kind of go against the stuff that you used to do that you don't do anymore. It
Mm.
doesn't make me a hypocrite. It means you grew.
Yes.
And, hearing that, like, I've never broken down in front of a stranger before.
Mm.
And, the part of me was like, God, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, wipe your tears away. Come on. But, with all the shit that's going on in my life, I just had a moment where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to feel this feeling
Yeah.
and I'm going to just let it go. And gosh, like, it reinforced the point that I made to myself that,
Mm.
like, this is something, maybe you are here to, serve others, serve yourself, be an example for others. And so that's just kind of how I'm trying to maintain.
That was wild, dude. Wild, man. Shoot. You still go to church? Did
Incredible.
you? Did you? Are you gonna go start going to church on a daily basis, or is it gonna be more like a weekly type of thing?
Yeah,
Or
there's a congregation
yeah.
about a quarter mile away down the street.
Nice.
I was actually just checking their mass schedule this morning. Sundays, they have several masses to choose
Mm.
from, much more so than, I guess, Queens.
Right.
And so I'm planning to go over there on
Let's go.
Sunday, check it out, maybe, get involved, introduce myself if things kind of fall into place that way.
Right.
And yeah, I've been just on the hunt for a job.
Let's go.
Like, there's no way that no matter what happens in my mind, without my body going out and earning that paycheck and bringing it home to my wife and supporting the family, that
Mm.
there's no possibility of me regaining that respect that a woman has for their man, that provides
Mm.
and supports and makes a safe place for the
Mm.
family. And so yeah, the traditionally we've been so used to applying for jobs online, sending a resume, sending an email, and then
Yeah.
kind of wait and see what happens. But I thought, you know what? Let me This thing in my hand is not just a screen to look at shit. It's a
Right.
phone. Let
Yeah.
me pick up the phone, talk to somebody, and let them know that I'm interested in joining their team.
Mm.
And so, I looked at there's an LA Fitness gym around here, so I'm basically trying to get hired as a sales or personal training sales associate.
Mm.
You Turns out you don't need to have any kind of qualifications to train people. You just kind of need to have an upbeat, positive attitude
Right.
and kind of, I guess, find what drives each person. And so that's where I've been leading towards because,
Let's
as I
go.
mentioned off air, I'm 43 now. I try to use example as your younger brother. Is
Right.
he still training people?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so. I don't think so. He stopped a while ago, but
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But he's been
So yeah,
training,
I
yeah,
mean,
for a while.
he's
Yeah.
he's what, 4 years younger than me.
Yeah.
We both look kind of young, and
Mm.
he's been fit for a long time. And I know another cat who was training, like, let's say he started about a decade ago, and he gave it up. And I thought to myself for a minute, like, oh, maybe they gave it up because maybe this is not the thing to do. And which, of course, right away is a limiting thought because I thought to
Right.
myself, hey, Mike, you didn't get fit until you were 40.
Mm.
If somebody 25 years old came up to you and started spouting off about eat healthy, run, exercise, like, I don't know, I think
Right.
I would tend to tune them out.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Exactly.
let's face it,
Exactly.
it's easy to be fit when you're 25.
Right.
It's not so easy when you're 45. And
Oh yeah.
so when I try to see what kind of value I could add, I just kind of look at my peer group and see who's fit, who's not, and think to myself, well, if they get fit, what other areas of their life could they apply that same principle of just small steps, small positive steps all the time. And it just kind of reaffirmed to myself that, if you get up in the morning and the thought of getting your body fit and helping others, start that journey, if that makes me come alive, and it does,
Yes.
then that's what I really should be kind of doing. Because,
Let's go,
I
man.
passed by a
Yeah.
church that had a sign that says, don't do what the world wants you to do. Do what makes you come alive when you wake up, because that's what the world needs. People who have come to life.
I couldn't have said it better
And
myself, man.
oh
Dude.
man, that was some
Yo.
powerful shit that I,
Mm, mm,
and it happened to be posted on the wall of a church. So I'm just
mm.
looking up like, God, like, could
Mm.
you give me any more signs? You keep them coming. Like, I'm here for this. I'm
Spitting
here for this all
facts,
the way.
dude.
Keep them coming, God.
Mm.
And so, like, man, like, even if, like, let's say a 9 to 5 job doesn't even have to fulfill that requirement. Just you and I
Right.
talking about our fitness, talking to my father, talking to my brother, talking to my friends.
Yes.
Although that doesn't put money in my pocket, I also know that I need to invest in my karmic bank account, my
Mmm.
spiritual bank account.
Mmm.
And so, like, I hate to sound all kind of like goody positive, but honestly, if you've known me for a long time, like, I carried around so much negativity that there's just no turning back for me now, because I never
Mmm.
want to back into that negativity ever again,
Mmm.
knowing that, some days I'll slip.
You're
I've
human.
I've had these kind of yeah, I've had these
Mm.
kind of those satanic devilish thoughts trying to creep into my head while I've been here for 48 hours, but
Mm.
like I said, just trying to slap those out of me.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Dude, man. Shoo-hoo. So tomorrow's Saturday. What's your plans for the weekend?
Honestly,
Yeah.
um my wife's real good friend is here visiting us.
Nice. Nice.
She's by
Nice.
herself.
Mm.
She she has kids and a husband, but she made the solo trip this time.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna let my wife kind of take advantage of that and enjoy her friend's company.
Mm.
My plan is to just, keep at it with this job search
Let's go.
and work out,
Mm.
and just take my daughter to the library and the playground,
Let's go. Yeah.
podcast with you,
Let's do it. Let's
eat some
go.
healthy food, and everything else is literally empty calories at this point in my life.
Mm.
Making money, spending time with my family, uh, you know, working to working long hours to provide just a small moment of joy
Mm.
is like where I'm headed towards. And I'm taking inspiration from you, of course, my dog, from people
Likewise.
around me, just to tell myself that, listen, it's time to grow up. It's time to leave, some of that shit behind, where
Mm.
yes, we grew up with food on the table, with a shelter over our head, but we might have grown up with parents who weren't ready to take on the emotional responsibilities necessary to raise a child that, let's face it, we know growing up in America that we look around and we see people that not only don't look like us, but
Mm.
make it a point to remind us just how we are not them, and that's a bad thing.
Mm.
And man, like, that kind of stuff is, it doesn't help anybody.
Right.
So it doesn't help anybody to keep kind of staying and stuck in that blame mode, blame game.
Mm.
Uh, these thoughts of, oh, like, if maybe I can't do this, maybe then I'm just like, you know what, Mike, shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck
Mm.
up and just get out and get over it, and get out there. And it's an everyday thing, guys. I think
Yeah.
we watch a lot of movies and TV shows, and we expect life to be all sorts of little happy moments, and then the bad moments, because we don't see it on TV, we tend to maybe just feel like, oh, if we change the channel in our head or turn off the TV in our head, that's going to show those bad pictures. Those bad
Mm.
pictures will just go away, and then, oh, some happy pictures gone. Let's turn on the TV again and let's watch the happy picture, and we just keep pushing those bad feelings down, and eventually it catches up with us.
Mm.
And yeah, like I hope, in like a year that you and I can kind of look back on this episode 20 and just kind of smile and see like, man, like, can you even believe that that was only 365 days ago?
Right, and it's gonna go fast, man. It's gonna go fast.
Yeah, so
It's gonna go
every
fast,
day,
dude. Yeah.
every day, you and I could put in the effort
Yes.
to create the life that we want for not only ourselves, but our families and the people we love.
Yes.
And God, like, I can't wait until that day, that you and
Yes.
I kind of reunite and
It will.
just kind of compare our notes and
We
look
will.
back on this year.
We will.
It's
No.
gonna be big, man. I had a
Yeah.
message from my friend just before I left, like, you know, there ain't shit holding us back this year. If there
Mm.
is, let's do the best we can to let go of that shit this year,
Yes.
and just crush it. Like, nobody, we got to do it for ourselves, because
Yes.
I saw this tweet about, think about maybe somebody you've known or have heard of who basically accomplished all their dreams and goals.
Mm.
And then let's say 2 years later, they just up and died.
Mm. Yes.
Who who would still really care of what that person did 2 years after their death?
Right.
No
Yeah.
one.
It's yeah. You just move on. Yeah. Exactly. Most people
Yeah.
much move. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why you got to do it for yourself, because who knows how much time
We
God will
have.
give us on this
Right.
in this, human flesh bag.
Yes.
And two, nobody's coming to save us.
Yep.
Even if, no matter what you do, what you accomplish, 2 years after your death, hardly anybody will even remember you. But the things you accomplished that you leave behind, maybe they will remember.
Mm. Mm. Dude. Whoo. Like I said, this is we're only getting started, boys and girls. This is
We are only getting started.
only getting
Everybody can
started.
start today. If you woke up today, so many people, and this is a message that gets driven home at each and every mass at church I go to.
Mm.
We say a prayer for the people who went to sleep last night healthy or not, but they went to sleep last night and they didn't get up this morning.
Mm, yeah.
And that's something that I think that, it's maybe morbid to think about, but no,
All
it's
right.
so true.
Yeah.
If you have the gift of life every morning,
Be
it's
thankful.
our responsibility
Yeah.
to pay that forward.
100%.
I've
Absolutely.
never actually seen that movie, Pay It Forward, but I think I'm going to watch it tonight.
Mmm.
Pay It Forward.
Mm.
It's, the gratification I feel, and this is something I started recently doing it.
Yeah.
Every morning I would wake up, and pretty much, unless you got to go to the bathroom and you run to the bathroom, I pick up my phone and I
Mm.
open a social media app and I scroll through to see what I missed while I might have been sleeping, what important thing I might have missed.
Mm.
And it turns out I missed nothing
Right.
important.
Yep.
So what I did was, no, the first thing
Mm.
I pick up in the morning is my head, and I look up and I say a little prayer. Thank you for giving me
Mm.
another
Mm.
day to serve, to try to mold myself in the image of God.
Mm.
And I say the little prayer, and that's how I start my day.
Mm.
And you know, it's it's it hasn't become ingrained in me yet. I wouldn't say it's become a
Mm.
part of me, but these subtle shifts of energy that I experience by doing that instead of picking up my phone and doom scrolling some bullshit, like,
Mm.
it carries over to the next hour.
Mm.
And then, you eat a healthy breakfast, or maybe you're fasting and you go to the gym and you get a little sweat on, and that carries over into the next hour.
Mm.
You eat something healthy, that carries over to the next hour. You have positive talks with your support system, your community, your village, and that carries over. And it's just all about just, like that stones
Yeah.
rolling down the hill, just building momentum
Yes.
until one day, like I said, maybe a year from now, me and you are gonna be like, what did Mark Manson say? Like, we should be thankful for that suffering,
Right,
right?
right. They're suffering. Exactly, exactly. We're going to talk about those times. Like when you're in it, you don't like it, but when you look back on it, you're going to be like, oh, it was necessary. That time was necessary to be where I am today. It had to be done,
Yeah,
and yeah.
certainly at this point in time, my wife would probably disagree
Mm.
with a statement like that, but you know, blessed is the struggle that you go through that makes you understand what's really important in life, and that makes you realize how broken you are and how you need to look up to some kind of higher spiritual power to kind of
Mm.
get you through. And yeah, like you and Mark Manson said, like these struggles we go through right now, it's tough. I gotta say, without certain important milestones this year, these past few months, like, there were times where I'm like, I might have just unalived myself,
Mm.
I think. But, the power of my faith, the power of my family, the power of my support system, some other friends, it's really like, I can't believe I had thoughts like that now. Like, what are
Mm.
you kidding me? Like, you got,
Right.
you're healthy,
Right.
you can talk, like you have all four limbs, you got all 10
Yes.
fingers, you got all fucking 10 toes. Like,
Right.
there's no reason that I should be fixated on that kind of bullshit that the devil wants me to think about.
Mm. Absolutely, man. Absolutely, dude. Uh
It's certainly easier said than done, but if I really am about this kind of Christian life, I kind of understood that, the lesson that you get from this person, real or imagined, who we call Jesus Christ,
mm.
he forgave those who betrayed him.
Mm.
He came back to help the people that he knows are still struggling. He accepts people for who they are. And, that will always be lesson 1A of being a Christian
Mm.
to me. Like,
Yeah.
if you think, if you want to be with God, talk to God, whatever like that, then act in the image of his son.
Mm.
Forgive those who betrayed you. Show grace and compassion to anybody you come across in your life, because those
Yes.
people are living the same life you had. They're just in a different body. We're
Right.
all living the same life here on earth right now. And man, the way I see situations and people now, I hope I can take this growth mindset into all areas of that in the future.
Day at a time. Day at a
And
time, man. That's what it
yeah,
is.
and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I think you and I will get into a lot over the
Mm.
course of this podcast journey. We are just
Weird.
sending
Baby
these
steps.
positive messages,
Yes,
trying to
sir.
uplift the male community and the ladies, who might tend to listen. But there's been a long streak of men just
Lost right
not
now. Yeah.
being the man that actually we need to be. And part of it was, I guess, when your parents try to shield you from the struggles, like especially your dad, our fathers, they kind of want to shield us from the struggles. They don't want us to
Yeah.
work like laborious manual labor jobs where there's danger of, physical, you know, weak, strain.
Right.
They would prefer us to be working professionals, academics, doctors, lawyers, and
Mm.
whatnot. And yeah, that's great. But, like we just covered before, the struggle is where we grow.
Yes.
Nobody's going to grow from the successes they've had.
And the
Success
comforts.
doesn't teach you, yeah,
Yeah.
success doesn't teach you. I mean, I haven't been successful, so I can't even say, but what
No,
does
you don't.
success teach us?
Success could mean a lot of different things to different people. It could be
Right.
becoming into a healthier life, finding,
Yeah.
having that mindset of finding what like finding God, for instance, or anything of that sort. So that definition of success is really different to who you speak to, type of thing.
And that's a good
Yeah,
point
yeah,
because,
yeah.
there are moments in the gym where you get tired, you're sleepy, you're hungry, it's cold, you forgot your headphones, so now you don't
Mm.
have any music, like whatever may
First
happen.
world problems. Yeah.
Yeah, like the struggle, overcoming that struggle is where we learn about ourselves.
Yes.
And for in my case, not only did my parents do their best to keep me away from the struggle life, but I just went through drastic measures to never struggle. For example, I quit a decent paying job with the excuse that I didn't want to work in the same company as my wife. I didn't want to
Mm.
come home and talk about the same shit that we just did at work. I want to talk about other shit. And I basically took the easy way out where, I just kind of sat back on my heels and basked in the affection that my wife, who didn't know who I really was, showed me. She being she wasn't an only child, but her relationship with her older sister, and who wasn't the greatest example. Her father wasn't around after she was 4, so her mom had to be the father figure and supported them and worked all the time. So my wife, let's say she raised herself,
Mm.
and because of that, she was always driven to just take care of everything. And the horrible part for her is that she met a guy, me, who my mother did a lot. She never had me do laundry, do some of the like hot cook, do
Mm.
the dishes. Like one time I actually volunteered to do the dishes, and my maternal grandfather was actually visiting us from Korea at that time. I volunteered to do the dishes because my mom, I don't really remember, but like instinctively, she was busy cleaning the house, like just getting everything ready so my grandpa could be comfortable. And I remember telling her, Mom, let me just do the dishes. And my grandpa flipped out on her.
Mm.
Like, how, this was in Korean, but the gist
Right.
of it was like, how the fuck are you making your son do the dishes? Like, do you know what kind of like, I didn't
Mm.
struggle so you could raise a son and make him do dishes type of thing.
Mm.
And I didn't even think about this, until saying this now, but
Right.
that's the kind of attitude that carried over with me watching my mom take care of everything, take care of all my needs. And then when I met my wife, just knowing what a beautiful person she was inside and outside, but that evil fucking part of me inside saw this woman who, once again, was a superwoman, could handle everything. And then I don't know, I retreated into this little bitch of a shell where, I was making money a little bit, but I was more just kind of basking in the glory of being her husband, just pretending like everything was good, judging other people for their problems and telling myself like, I don't have those problems, so I'm okay. And that was that period of my life where, I'm struggling now because I live like that, but I understand like those are the things that got me here. I have a friend here who he, I remember telling him once, like, you really make an effort to learn a lesson in the hardest way you can.
Mm.
And I found that strange because I still had that attitude of, if you can make it easier on yourself and do it, who cares? Like, if it might hurt someone else or you're not even thinking about how it's going to hurt you,
Mm.
take the easy way out. And as I was telling my friend, like, you seem to make an effort to learn a lesson in the hardest way you can, his response was, that's the only way I can learn.
Mm.
And, I'm not advocating men to make their life as hard as possible before learning the lessons, but I hope, if you listen to this and whoever you are and you're going through a struggle, that the beauty of that struggle, the beauty of understanding that there is a season of struggling where if you can understand what you need to do to get to the season of winning, and that's the cycle of life.
Yep.
You're never going to be stuck forever in a losing season, and you're never going to be stuck forever in a winning season.
Mm.
And how you respond to that transition period, that struggle period, it says everything about the kind of man you are. And doing it, handling that well, or even if you didn't handle it well, understanding how you could have done better and trying to do better every day to for so the next time you're prepared. This is the essence of being a man. And I thank my father for imparting to me the lessons of, men don't complain, men suck it up and we go about their business, men do what we need to do, and that's great. But my dad, I don't remember ever him, certainly telling my mother that he was having a hard time with something.
Mm.
My mother has a very strong personality. Some might even call it narcissistic. I'm not a psychologist, so I can't really pinpoint it, but she displays a lot of that kind of behavior where things that she does for other people, she feels don't get reciprocated in full because her personality, being the oldest child of five, struggling, they didn't grow up with a lot of money. She just poured herself into her family that she wasn't able to pour herself into herself. And so
Mm.
she carries around a lot of resentment of, she was such a help to my grandmother, such a help to my siblings, and such a help to her siblings. And if you look at my mother's siblings, they are thriving. They are
Mm.
fantastic, with the exception of maybe my oldest uncle, who, being the oldest male in the family, is definitely carrying around a lot of trauma from being the oldest son of that man.
Mm.
Who, don't get me wrong, I love my grandpa, but obviously he has his stuff that he couldn't deal with and ended up getting passed on to his kid. And
Mm.
so, it goes back to something that I tried, as much as I don't want to be on social media, nowadays, most of my social media is about this kind of positivity, and, I trailed off for a second, but that's really where I want to be. My
Mm.
mom, the lessons that all the generations who came before me, who gave to me, and the lessons that I learned for myself are going to be the reason why my daughter can see the things that ran in my family until they ran into me.
Mm.
There are traumas that ran in my family until they ran into me.
Mm.
And I'm going to say that one more time, so all of you who might ever listen to this in the future, there are things that run in your family until they run into you. And
Mm.
you are going to be the one to break that generational cycle.
Mm.
We're in an era and we're in a world now where we're lucky enough that food and survival can be
Easily obtainable.
easily
Yeah.
handled. Yes, thank
Right.
you. Easily handled. And now, before this world gets more out of control with blue and red, Ukraine and Russia, North and South Korea,
Mm.
Japan and Korea, like all this war, all this fighting that, let's face it, men perpetrate. It's on us before we really get to a point where our bodies and minds aren't able to do it, that it's on us to make the changes necessary, not just for us, but for everybody.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like that. Yeah, man. Just what Fuji said, Mike said. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. You said
This
everything
journey is
that
gonna
needed to be
take us
said.
to a lot of places.
Oh,
This
it
journey is gonna
certainly
take us
is.
to a lot of
It
places.
certainly is, man. As I mentioned to you, in the before when you came over here, you you gave me some perspective. Something that I wasn't considering. It's something that everyone needs to hear. It's one of those things. But
And right now, Rich, your successes, and you certainly have, a good amount of them, is all stuff that, let's face it, I would not have really added any value to you achieving. I, in fact, tend to think of myself as, if I was around you earlier, I would have dragged you down into my little pit of shit. And, I'm not saying that you would have fallen for it, but, it would wear on you. And now I think, being that I'm married with a kid, you're single, when there comes a point where you come to me about, hey, this part of my relationship, I wasn't really sure about, but speaking to me and kind of remembering my experiences that I shared with you, and
mm,
if you ever find yourself in a situation where something that I at the time thought was a negative, but tried to turn into a positive and impart some experience to you, and if you can use that to grow your relationship, that would just be, again, one of the most gratifying things that somebody could ever hear in their life.
no, no, definitely,
So,
definitely.
I hope I didn't turn you off having a relationship, because I'm the one who fucked up. I own my fuck ups. You,
Mm,
of course, will have your own fuck ups, but,
right.
your support system is also here. Your father, your brother, me, your brother in law.
Yes.
If any of us could play a part in your future success, then, that's just, that's it.
No, no,
That's
thank you
it.
for
That's
that.
life
Thank you.
right there.
No,
That's all
no,
about life.
no, definitely. I'm definitely going to go to the people that are currently in that situation, and yeah, man, I thank you for that offer. Thank you for that offer. But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's happy Friday, bro.
Happy Friday, man. Happy Friday, dude. It's
Tell me what happened in the markets today.
the
Bitcoin is at
markets.
an all-time high. Time to
Oh, really?
retire.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I never sold mine, but I'm
Yo,
always
Bitcoin
yeah,
Bitcoin cracked
uh,
60, ETH
yeah.
cracked 4,000.
Mm.
Fuck, when it was at 23, I was like, shit, should I just go all in and buy one?
Nah, no, no, never go all in and everything, but
But yeah, I'm kind of
yeah,
kicking myself, but
it's all right.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm just so like trading today. I've been profitable every day this week. But
Mm-hmm.
but when you think of trading, I'm just trading. What I'm doing to create income is day trading. So I open and close a
Okay.
position in the same day. It's not like holding. I have my other holdings on the side.
Oh, okay, right, right,
Yeah, so
right.
I
Thank
think
you for that
you no
edification.
because trading there's different styles. There's a day trader where you buy and sell a position within the same day. There's long term holding, like you just hold on to a position, you hold it, and you don't even buy and sell. But that's it. But yeah, man, there's gonna be a lot more to come, everyone. For now, it's it was just like a little bit of a couple days of catch up going, and it was nice to hear.
Yeah,
You
we're probably
know,
gonna catch up off the microphone too.
yeah, and yeah,
And
man,
coming into the weekend, we'll be sure to come back to you. Uh, Maybe over the weekend, maybe when the weekday comes.
right.
We'll, depending on what our what
What we
our
do.
episode
Yep.
plans are.
Exactly,
But
exactly.
definitely a weekend recap episode is I think is on deck.
Right.
And maybe an episode of just how after a work week, we can let's talk about a few ways that we can kind of unwind and take a few moments to ourselves
Yeah.
by doing something that will serve us for the coming week, and not just it's Friday, let's get a little tipsy, let's get a little high, like let's
Mm.
have some fun, like that. We grew up in New York City, we've had a lot of that.
We
And
had way a lot of that.
there's still a time and place for some fun. But even now, I'm in the mind that Saturday and Sunday, if you could make small intentional efforts on the weekends, come Monday, you're gonna crush the competition.
No, absolutely. And with that said, it's been in exactly 10 seconds. It's gonna be over an hour. So it's been we brought you another
Holy
long one.
shit,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
real?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Wow, I
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
went on today, didn't I? I went
No,
on and
no,
on, guys.
and I love it. No, no,
It seemed
that's
like
what
I
we
talked for
needed.
10 minutes today.
No, no, no. It's something that we needed, man. There's a lot of
Oh
things that
man,
were
and
on our.
this
Yeah.
is why I fucking love my conversations with you, Rich.
Mm.
Cause you let me kind of talk, and when you do kind of come in with your punches, they're powerful, like phew phew. They either get me back on track or they flip my perspective and they make me question my assumptions. And that's why I love you, man.
I love you too, man. That's why like I said, like you have your perspectives and I have my perspectives, and it helps both of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
All
so
right.
yeah,
So
man.
I think this is a good time to turn off the mic. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. It would really help us out, especially if you are on YouTube. Please subscribe, comment. Let us know if we added any value to your day that, it would make me and Rich's, it would make our whole week to get a comment from a listener to tell us they added value. So once again, LAF Media Company on YouTube, LAF Media Company on Instagram. This could change as the podcast is evolving, but the account will still be the same. We're going to retain our followers even if the name changes. But for now, I am your co-host, Fuji.
I am Lurch and Fuji signing off.
Thank you for
Peace.
listening. Peace.